Organissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.organissima.com. Organissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Organissima.
Well. Welcome back to the iHealth channel and iHealth Radio with Hurricane H. A new day, a new show, a new guest. And with me today, a writer, transformational writer. And it is an interesting story, and she'll tell us about how it all began with her and her mission. So I have with me Carolina Duarte, all the way from the state of Florida, the Sunshine State. And how you doing? How are you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here today.
All right. Likewise, I'm excited. We've actually booked this a while ago. Finally, we got to do it today. So welcome. So Carolina, tell us a little bit about your story, because I think you're about really transformation. And I think today we're going to focus on, finding our purpose, or finding the purpose in life. And that's a big deal, because I mean, we all live, and there's so much stuff going on out there, and there's so much negativity. Now you focus on really moving people from negativity to positivity by helping them maybe change their life. And your books, you have a series of books, and we can talk about that. They're all available for that same purpose, is to help people and guide them. And you and I, we talked briefly, and you had said also that you've taken this to become literally your mission in life right now. And if your main thing, or this is what you're doing. So again, I don't know. So I'm asking you, tell us a little bit about the whole journey, how it all began.
Well, it all began about 7 years ago in 2014. And I always been Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and I went to Catholic school. So it wasn't like God was new to me. But I was in a kind of a dark place in my life. Not that anything was happening with me, but it was just that I wasn't happy with who I was, I guess. I felt like I didn't have, or wasn't bringing any value to the world. Okay, my major is marketing, and I have a business in marketing and web design. So I was doing that, and I was doing well in my career. But I felt like it was empty, and it was nothing meaningful and very fulfilling for me. So I approached God and I said, what is happening? Why do I feel so empty? Nothing really outside of me seems to be falling apart, but I feel like I'm not doing anything right, that I wasn't good enough. And nothing really outside showed that. It was just me feeling that way. So I started to receive messages from him, which I didn't believe that's what it was, but those were filled of so much wisdom that I felt like it was just a guide for myself at the beginning. So I was like, okay, that's kind of the answer I felt I got. And later, weeks later, I keep forgetting the messages. So I'm like, maybe guided by him. Every time I went to church to be alone and just pray, I took my cell phone and I started just type the messages on my cell phone. And then I went home and I read them. I'm like, wow, they're very nice, and they're very meaningful for what I was going through. And I asked him at that point, make me an instrument of your love, of your peace. I want to do something that will be meaningful for people's life and for my own. But I just said it without even, just make me an instrument of your love, an instrument of your peace. But I thought what I was asking was just people around me, help me be a guide for people. people, usually my friends and all that, they always asking me for advice and what should I do. So I always ask God to help me guide them and just be an instrument of his words and just say whatever they needed to hear. But I think he took it to a totally different level that I did not expect. So moving forward in 2018, I was again in another crisis or whatever. And I still feel like I still feel like my life didn't have much value or wasn't bringing value to the world.
Mhm.
So I asked him again, okay, what's going on? What should I do? So I said, I'm going to just quit my business because I had my business for almost 10 years by then. And I'm just going to work for a nonprofit. I need something that feels me, makes me feel fulfilled. So I started to look for, opportunities for that, but that didn't work out. So he told me, you need to write a book with all the messages that I've given you. And your mission is to take those messages around the world and help every single person that crosses your path. And I was like, okay, I misread the entire message. I'm not a writer. I think he just meant something else. Maybe I'm confused. So I knew web design. So I created a website and I started putting all those messages there. Maybe that's what he meant. And then he said, everywhere else. So what the best way than a website? But he kept bugging me. It has to be a book, and the book title has to be Messages of Love.
So that's the name of the
So
book.
that's the name of the book. I added peace. So it's Messages of Love and Peace. And I added peace because for
Love
the
that.
domain of the website, I couldn't find. That's another story. But I
I know how
added
that
peace.
works.
And it also because they bring peace. So that's how it felt with the messages. So I started to continue with the website and just feeding the website with all the messages, for a lot of messages. And he is very persistent. And during the journey, besides the messages, he also gave me exercises, which I'm sure I did not give myself. So I know it sounds crazy for a lot of people saying that God gave them to me. And to be honest, it took me literally 7 years or 6 years and a half to openly say it to people that God was giving me these messages. The only person by then that knew was my brother, and he always supported me with everything and he believed me without questioning what I was saying. But when I talked to people about it at first, people were questioning if I was really listening or what is it that I was hearing. And like, it's a voice in my head that talks to me and gives me wisdom. So it's not me. So anyway, those exercises were depending on what I was going through in life. So one of the first exercises was to put on a piece of paper every single day 5 qualities that I believe I had, talents, gifts, whatever it was from my personality and
Mhm.
also physically. So I started to do that, and I knew I didn't give that to myself because I wouldn't. I was too, I don't know, shy or whatever to talk about my own qualities, to actually take the time to write them down. But that was the first exercise. So I did that for about 40 days or something. And at the beginning, I was putting the same thing over and over. But, I was like, that's all I have. I just believe I have this talent and this other talent. So he's like, you can't write the same talents every day. You have to come up with different ones. I'm like, oh man, it's already hard to try to put talents in a piece of paper. Now you want me different ones. So that started to make a big change in me. I started to see that I had talents and qualities that I could use to serve the world or serve people around me. And the main thing that he told me is you have to be humble about it. Doesn't mean that because you recognize something good in you, that you're going to show off to people. You're just going to use it to serve them.
Mhm.
And the fact that you recognize something in you doesn't make you any better than anyone else. So that was like the key thing as well with this exercise. So that was one of the first ones. But then I had tons of different exercises with people that I was having challenges with, or we as humans, we always expect to be appreciated when we do something good for people. So the exercise was to give love without expecting anything. And the other one was to think about what is it that I wanted in my heart, rather than thinking what is it that society want me to do, what is it that my family expect from me, what is it that I expect from myself, what do I think God wants me to do. So those exercises became another set of books. And
Wow.
during the pandemic, I was creating those as journals for myself, because I was having a whole bunch of different notebooks just filled with this exercise. So like, oh, it'd be so much easier if I just have create a journal, I print it out, and I just have it there, just to write it there, instead of having to put the question every time. But then I said, why not share with people? So I started putting the instructions of what to do with the instructions they were given to me. And I believe that God guided me through all that writing, because I told him, like, every time I write, I always pray before I do. And I always tell him, just make me your typist. I don't want to interfere with whatever the message is. So I created those. So those actual exercises became what I thought it would be journals, but they ended up being workbooks. So during the pandemic, before, actually, let me tell you this, before the pandemic, which before I started with all this thing, in 2020, in January, actually the 24th, I actually took, if I hadn't written this on a notebook, I probably wouldn't believe it was true. But in January 24th of 2020, I said, okay, God, I'm going to make a deal with you. I'm going to take this leap of faith. It's hard because it's going to hurt me financially. I'm not going to abandon my clients, because I had clients that had been with me for many years, for over 5 years, some of them. So I will continue with them, but I'm not going to look for new ones. And if I'm crazy and I'm just hearing voices and I fall hard, that will be fine. But I'm just taking this leap of faith. I'm going to trust you that you're going to guide me in this new path. So I wrote everything down and I said, okay, I'm starting this year without working on my business anymore, as far as sales and all that. I was just writing and following up with the clients that I had at that time. Then the pandemic hit. So I started to write actually that immediately, that January. Started to put all the messages together and trying to understand what publishing a book was. I'd never done that before, so completely new thing to me. So I had to do a lot of learning and a lot of writing, because I felt like I had so much information that I was holding that I needed to share. So I started to type all those books. And the first ones were the book of messages, which are called Messages of Love and Peace, which is kind of the title he gave me. And then I started with the exercise ones. The exercise where there are a total of 12. So the book of messages are 3. Then I started to write another ones. I don't know why those are called guides, but they're called guides. Don't ask me why. Guides from God. And they're longer messages. And they have more information than the first ones. I think that's why they're called guides. And the other ones are just workbooks. And I wrote them all in Spanish. They are not 100% finished, all the 12 books, because I realized that since I had no clue of what editing or publishing a book was, I missed a few steps of editing and actually proofreading and all that. So now I'm not rewriting, but editing the books. And I realized that I wasn't giving enough information, explaining everything. So for the quarantine, when everything started, I was like, God, there's something that I could do. I can't just sit here and write books and not help people that are going crazy I live by myself, so I wasn't gonna go crazy with the kids and other things. But I felt like people were had more challenging experiences during the quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, what is it I could do? So I end up writing another workbook just for the quarantine. And I just give the PDF for free for people to download. And when I did it, I was like, maybe I should do just one introduction of what the book is about and what everything is going to be like on this workbook. When I did it, people were like, oh, it's just one session. What about, I'm like, well, I guess we could do once a week. So it ended up being a 7-week course that I did with a group of people during the
Was that a
quarantine.
class or like individuals? Just
It was
one-on-one?
it was a group class. So it was between 10 and 15 people every session. Virtually on Zoom. Yeah. So that gave me the inspiration of maybe those workbooks need a course. So that's how the idea of the course were born. So that's the very long story of how I got
Well,
here.
that's very spirited, spiritual, and unique. And so let's go back a little bit in time. So, and again, while I tried to keep the shows less religious, but obviously there is, we all believe in religion. I think most people, even those folks that may think no religion, they still somehow somewhere have some sort of a vision of religion. And so you had this vision, this discussion, these messages that you were receiving, or you had, that you the voices, whatever again, it's very difficult because to your point, I mean, people are probably gonna like, what does that mean? You hear voices now, and even yourself, you probably question like, is this a voice or is it like really a message? And now you did say you were Catholic, by I guess growth, and you were raised in the Catholic Church. Now, was this in the same realm in your regular Catholic church, or you've kind of found yourself in a different church?
Um, at this point, before I was more prompt to differentiate myself from church to church, but now I don't believe. I think there's just one higher power, however people want to call him. And I
True.
don't believe in religions anymore. I think religions are made by men, and
Interesting.
God is he just gives us his teachings to whoever book or whoever you believe came here to give him teachings. And we just, as humans, decided to divide ourselves into different entities or institutions. So, religion for me is more a spiritual growth. I do believe I'm Catholic, so I'm guided through God and Jesus and all that.
Mhm.
But I don't think people need to have a tag for their spiritual growth.
Well, again, that's an opinion. I mean, I'm
And yeah,
sure.
that's the way I see it now. That's the way I see
I,
it now.
I know, and I'm sure a lot of people would probably, some would agree, some would disagree, and you probably heard
It's
it
just a
before.
hard topic. Yeah, it's
I
not
know.
an easy topic.
Well, typically religion and politics, right? We don't want to discuss. Now,
Exactly.
interestingly, I mean, we all have potentially different religions, and again, I have, our audiences are literally very diversified, and people are probably going to listen like, well, this is a health show, and and there is a link between religion and spirituality and health and mental health and all that good stuff, right? So there's different feeds, if you want to call them, like some people refer to them energies, and every religion has its own way of doing it. And to your point, um, there is one common denominator for all religions, and regardless whether people believe or not, is that, to your point, there is a higher power. And again, we call it different. We believe in it a little different. In a way, we all worship the higher power to one way or another in our own format. So, I mean, every religion has its own way of displaying that, and that's okay. I believe that religion is a beautiful thing, and again, you're saying there's religions created by humans, and that's also just a definition, because to your point, it's really the fact of worship and things like that that's actually the key, and the fact to acknowledge that there is a higher power and higher authority, right? And I think that's sometimes where the challenge is. And some people say, well, there's none. Some people say there is. Some people say in the name of Jesus. Some people say, like in all different religions, they have different names for God, right? And at the end of the day, I think still they all are referring to the Almighty or the Creator or the Sustainer, or whatever, attributes that we might give in different, fields of religion here, or at least beliefs. Let's call them beliefs. But at the end of the day, that is part of our health and well-being. I mean, sometimes being spiritual does give you a different look in life, outlook in life. I mean, you see life differently. You appreciate things differently. You can see a lot of how to live life in a better way, because you do have certain rules that you apply. You don't hurt people. Like you said, the message of love and peace. Now, imagine if the world right now uses that message, regardless of religion. It would be a beautiful place. We would have no murders, no hate, no, wars. That would be a great thing. In essence, that is the message of religion, or the message of God. Again, religion is the vehicle that we describe, that message. But and by the way, I can tell you, I mean, I do have a different belief personally. I happen to be Muslim, and and in our belief, we do believe in similar message, meaning peace, love, harmony, all that. And there's other rules that apply with religion, and we can do a lot of debates about that. But at the end of the day, it is the same thing. We still believe in the Creator, and we believe that all religions or all beliefs kind of sync up to the same. But at the end of the day, they're a way of living.
Exactly.
And that way of living is what drives us, to do good or bad. Now, there's always those two entities. There's that you can pull positive or you can pull negative, right? Some people choose the negative, and I hope that more people are choosing positivity. And like I said earlier, today we're going to talk about that positivity and negativity from the context of a spiritual realm, right? As opposed to talking to it from a mental state or physical state of health. At the end of the day, it's all ties in. Like, in previous shows, we've talked about this, where it's health. It's really body, mind, body, and spirit, right? It's all the same. So to be good in your life, you have to have some sort of a combination of all these three. Now, people again, in the shows, it's all about opinion. We're just discussing different, versions of things, and this is your vision and view, and this is what you came up with. And some people may have a different angle. And you know what? Hey, if you're listening and you want to have your own views, please bring them on board. We'll listen to them, and we'll have a discussion as well. So it's always welcome. And you know what? One thing about living in the United States specifically, I mean, that freedom of religion is it's immense. It's the greatest thing that you can have as a gift, where everybody can actually reflect and apply their religion, or at least their spiritual belief. And so that's the beauty of it, right? And we all can get together and also get along together if we want to. And fortunately, some folks may not choose that. And maybe this discussion will be like, what is these people are talking about? Well, you got a Muslim, and you got a Christian, or you got a Catholic who is definitely not even interested in religion. What the hell's going on this one? But and the beauty of it is that it is a great place where, these discussions can be happening, and everybody is entitled to at least providing their views. And in your view, I mean, you did get, some sort of message, and you don't just come up with it. I mean, you did get some idea, and whatever the idea came from, you attribute it to discussion or God directly to you. Some people say, well, it's a vision. Some people can call it different things, but whatever it is, it's worked for you actually, and it almost works because you feel that things are happening exactly how they were supposed to. You were doing things, and you're doing things now that you probably didn't think that you would be doing before. Correct?
That's right. I
And
never thought I would ever publish a book.
well, there you go. And that's, again, and some people will actually say literally. I mean, I know people that may say, well, you were touched and you have the spirit and you have, this is religion. And some people can even, you've probably heard this before, they debate with you, like you say that you believe in high spirit. This is exactly what religion is about. So, and did you actually encounter someone to do that to you? Like, I mean, obviously you're approaching people, and people are probably gonna look at you like, hey,
Yeah,
girl, what's up?
I do, and it was more challenging before. Like at the beginning, when I was writing the books, especially the workbooks, I did not mention the spiritual part as much. I mentioned more like just think positively, see what's positive in your
Hmm.
life, be thankful of what you have. But I didn't feel like I was being faithful to what I believed. So I set that aside a little bit and just trust the process of trusting and believing what I was doing and what I believe my purpose was. And regardless of what people believe, I think if they do the exercises that were given to me, regardless of what their belief is, their life could be improved, their life could be transformed. And if they decide to go on that path, they could
Hmm.
have some spiritual growth.
Sure.
Because books, like for example, what I write is more about love the person next to you, be
Hmm.
kind, be nice, smile, enjoy who you are, love who you are, be thankful for every little thing you receive every day. So it is, for me, it is being on a spiritual journey, but it doesn't really have to fall into that category if people don't feel comfortable talking about it.
Well,
But
so
it does have an impact on, it could have an impact on their lives, changing the way they see things without necessarily believing on a specific higher power.
well, again, I still think that the majority of humanity today, I think 90% of humanity today has some sort of a belief system, and they all kind of guide to a higher authority. I mean, there are people that may not believe in a creator or a God, but for the most part, regardless of the differences in how we perceive God and how we apply the teachings of religion, things like that, or belief systems, I think that humanity still has that kind of system. And to your point, you know first of all, as I'm listening to you, I mean, these descriptions that you're given, some people can argue, well, these are Christian teachings, these are Muslim teachings, these are Judaic teachings, because they sound the same. As a matter of fact, I think all these three main religions, and probably Buddhism and Hinduism and all those, have similar bases or similar foundations when it comes to living life according to those same rules. I think those rules are generic and pretty standardized for people that actually are close to it, right? I mean, not
Yeah.
everybody applies them, but certainly if
Yeah.
you are spiritual enough, you will apply those rules where you do not hurt people, you love people, you always be best to your neighbor, your friends, and so on and so forth. And I think those are teachings that are beautiful, that anyone that is human that has those characteristics is going to be a better human. you know and so someone can argue with you, well, you just described Christianity, you just described Islam, you just described, I mean, from an Islamic, for example, perspective, the word Islam is peace, right? Just as a name, right? But so those are the same teachings in a way. When you look at Christianity, thou shalt not kill. If someone wants to slap you, give them the other cheek. That, see, those are some of the concepts that are the same. Now you're bringing it in a different angle, in a lifestyle or a way of life, and I think what you've the way you've kind of launched this, or the way you're pronouncing this to folks, is that you don't want it to be quoted as a religion, but it's more of a living style. Like, live a better life, have a better purpose, live healthier, mind, body, spirit, but in a healthier way. No negativity, period. And by the way, those can be also teachings of Hinduism, or even Buddhism. I mean, Buddhism is
Buddhism as well.
definitely
Yeah.
that's more, I'm sorry, that's more Buddhism actually in the realm there. So and that, like I said, and by the way, these are all equal teachings in all these religions, and there's none of these beliefs that actually, or belief systems, that will actually deny these rules. So that's actually a very good tie into how people live. And you're right, some people may still don't want to accept a religious belief system, but still want to live a happy life. And I've seen people that actually using similar approach without having to belong to a religion system. They're more of like free, spirited, and what they do is they meditate, they believe in the higher power, but they connect directly with the higher power without interference with other books or other type of I guess connections with how, because religious beliefs have systems. They try to disconnect from the actual systems and just live direct life, with the powers, right? So if someone argues with you about that, what would you tell them in a very based on your own belief right now and teaching and what you've put together from your messages? What would be that message?
I had come across people questioning my sanity because I do say that I feel that God has spoken to me, or I feel that He received. Either if I think we all do have an inner teacher, and we have that intuition. We could call it our inner voice, intuition, or gut, whatever you want to call it. So when people say that, I ask them that I'm not looking for their approval.
Mhm.
I'm not expecting them to agree with me. They don't have to. So it's okay. They don't need to agree with me, and I'm okay with that. They and if they judge me, is their choice, and I can't control their choice. I can
It's
only
fair.
control what I do. I can only control what I say and how I feel about it. So if people want to judge me, it's their choice, it's their decision. I can't do anything about it. So when I usually come across people questioning what I'm doing, I usually tell them, I'm working for God. I believe on His instrument, and when I die, I guess I'll that's when I really know if I'm crazy or I'm being or I was on the right track. And no one else on earth would know that.
Well, Carolina,
That's the way I see it.
no, but that's a great point. And to your point, first of all, we just talked about the ability to be free to believe, right? And by the way, I think in religion we have that freedom as well, meaning that any book from all the books, they do kind of talk about you are free to believe or disbelieve. It's just a choice, right? And some people may be referred to as believers, and in other views they could be disbelievers, in different religion, and vice versa. So we have a freedom of choice in religion. We have free will to select, and to your point, people may have those options. Again, you just said a key word. We believe in a similar concept whereby I have my religion, you have yours, meaning that I respect yours and you respect mine, right? And I
Exactly.
think I think in this world we live in, we see that happening more and more in a lot of countries where there's more interaction with all the religions. It's not segmented or like segregated where this is only one religion versus the other. You have more acceptance of religions and different levels of religion as well. And within one religion, you have multiple denominations and branches of the same faith type of thing, right? And so we have that. But again, some people would recruit you. Actually, you sound good, and they want you to be like, join our, believe and spread the word, right? So that could be another angle that you might be encountering in your journey here. But now, again, I don't want it to be really a religious discussion as much as more of a healthy and living discussion today. But nevertheless, it is stemming from you having this vision and these discussions or these messages coming to you that you've applied into a series of books and or guidebooks, right?
Mhm.
So again, the first book is the message for love and peace. Now,
Messages of love and peace.
messages of love and peace. That's in itself, I think it's everybody can welcome that. Even to your point, if it's not religiously, but you can welcome it as a practice, as a system to assist. Sometimes we do need to have reinforcement of these ideologies in our own because we tend to see a lot of hate. We tend to see a lot of stuff through media and through TV shows, movies, killing. So sometimes if we are conditioned and hear it more and more, and you were in marketing, so you know how the power of marketing, right? You got to see it over and over and over, and it just sinks in, and your subconscious gets in. Well, the more we talk about peace and love and peace, the more you're going to be loving and peaceful, to a degree.
Exactly.
And I think there is nothing that can deviate us from having messages of that, power to
And yeah,
humanity.
and they are very like the messages on those books are very inspirational. So they give more. So if people are going through a tough time, or they feel alone, or they feel empty, those messages could bright up their day, or at least make them smile
Well, let's
for a
talk
few
about that.
seconds.
Let's talk about those messages.
So for example, the message, I divided them by categories depending on what I was going through when I received them. So for example, one is love and loneliness. That's one of the chapters. So how you feel lonely because you are expecting things from people. And it sounds bad, but you should not expect anything. You should give and give love. And once we start giving love, you start receiving it. Maybe not from the same person, but if you're loving to the cashier at Publix or the supermarket, hey, how was your day? Thank you so much for helping me. Thank you so much. People are like, wow, you if you try that, you feel like you receive it as well. So one of the messages, for example, is see yourself in others like a mirror, and you will start to receive what you're looking for. So if we that and those are the type of messages. So if we start to do little things that the messages say, is more about giving love, feeling joyful, being thankful, appreciate. So those are the type of messages that are on the book. And they're very short, and they give just a piece of love to them. Just I feel like sometimes it's just a kiss on the cheek if you need that day,
A smile
a
can be.
smile.
Yeah.
And like for example, another message is a smile. With your smile, you're charming, and you encourage others to smile. Let's make everyone smile.
Well, Carolina, it's funny because someone can literally argue that, well, these are Christian teachings, or even, believe it or not, we're talking about smile right now. We have a teaching that says, a smile is charity, can be charity. So these are similar. So someone can say, well, you're Catholic and Christian, and therefore you're just practicing Christianity right now. And these messages maybe are things that you've learned and you're just applying right now. I mean, that could be an argument, and I'm not sure if you've had these debates with people already.
It's funny because the people that question me more about my sanity are more Catholics and Christians. Just kind of ironic, because when I first started with this journey, I thought the first support will come from them, because oh my God, we have the same belief, and now we have the same passion, and I feel like I'm very close to God, so let's all work together. But they were like more, oh, I think you're insane. Oh, I think, are you crazy? Maybe you're, and I honestly question myself sometimes. Maybe what I wrote is something that I heard, and my subconscious is bringing it again to
Well,
me. And
remember,
it could be a mix of both.
sure.
It could be a mix of what I heard in the past, and I'm putting them on these messages as well. But a lot of them are so full of wisdom that when I read them, I'm like, I know I'm smart, and I know I read a lot of inspirational things, but I don't think I will come up with something like this. So that's when I think they're beyond me. There is, and it's not like they're super elaborated, but they're very profound. And sometimes I get messages, I read messages from 2014, and I read them today, and they have a different meaning, or they finally sink in. It's like, oh man, that's what it means. Like for example, one of them that finally kind of like sinked into me is, love is always the answer. And I was
That's
like,
deep. It's a
and I was
very
like,
deep meaning, yeah.
love is always the answer. What is that supposed to mean? And I thought it was more into relationships with a partner rather than everyone. But if now that I am thinking about it more and more, it's like love is always the answer. So if someone does something, I just have to be understanding and not judging, and just offering love and whatever love surrounds. And if we try that, and that's a lot of the work, the exercises in the workbooks, because one of them is how to be happy surround around difficult people.
That's
That
tough.
was, I know it. Trust me, the exercises on that book are super simple, but are the hardest.
Now, when you
Yeah.
say exercise, are these practical exercises? Are they like, things that you write down, or is it like physical exercise that you have to do?
No, both, but not actually exercising, but more um, things that you have to do during the day. So, for
So
example,
activities.
activities that you have
Sure.
to do
Okay.
during the day. One, for example, on that book on how to be happy around difficult people is with that person that you believe is difficult, you're going to be extra nice and you're not going to be concerned of how they react. Trust me, I will not give that exercise to myself. It was torture when I was doing it. And I was like, I give up. I can't. And later on, with one of the persons that I had to do this exercise with, he was going through a very tough time and I was not aware of that. And the way he was reacting was affecting me, but it wasn't something personal with me. It was, that was the best he could do in that moment.
Mhm.
So I realized that giving him love, giving him attention, really caring for how he was doing and really paying attention, regardless if he answered or not, or regardless if he was really rude or mean. I was giving him love all the time. And later on, he opened up and told me, I was like, oh my God. So things like that changes the perspective and actually was feeling good with what I was doing for him, even before I knew. Later on, like
Mhm.
days after, not at the beginning, it was very frustrating, but it made me make my acts of love very pure because I was only doing it to make that person feel good and to actually give true and pure love to that person rather than just for my own sake and okay, I'm a good person. So say thank you to me because I did something for you. So it made me really humble and say I'm not expecting anything. So if I don't receive anything, it doesn't matter how I feel about what I did. So I think those exercises really transform the way you see things and really makes you be more compassionate about others, more understanding, less judgmental, less criticism, and
Mhm.
focus more on what people are doing good and what they're struggling with and how you can be a help and a helping hand during that time because we don't know what people are going through. We have no clue, and we
That's
sometimes
true.
we jump into conclusions without knowing what is that person going through. So before we do that, just take a second, pause and say, how can I give love to this person and leave them with a smile rather than with a frown? So little exercises like that is part of the book. So this, I think, is just way away from being thinking about God and religion. It's just more just you giving love and being an instrument of love in someone's life.
So from a practical aspect, these are practices and teachings that can help people be better and live
Yes.
better. Now some people can claim that this is a religious belief or irreligious belief or not religion. It's more spirituality. And that could be an argument as well, right? Because
Yes.
everybody's got different angles and opinions about how they see religion and God. And but nevertheless, these are messages that I think are values that pretty much everybody that wants to be good in life should adopt, regardless of the source here, And again, some people may say, well, again, we go back to the same question earlier. Well, these are our teachings. You're coming up with these, but they're out there. They're in our Bible and in the Quran and in the Torah,
And
and
yes.
in other teaching books, but also in business practices and corporations and leadership trainings and you know mindset trainings and things like that, or coaching trainings. So you're right. Some people can say, well, you can tell me this is something that you've heard and you were given this message and this mission. And then someone can say, well, maybe these are, like you said, maybe these are things that I've heard before and they're coming to light now. And it's just so elevated that I want to actually give them. either way, again, you know best what that is for you and why you stayed exactly what you said, and that's okay. I think for people listening or viewing here, it's like um, we again, this is not a religious, platform, but certainly it is a practice platform in getting positive, staying positive, being motivated, inspired, and things like that. So again, what we're talking about here is whether you have a religious background that drives these motivations and these types of practices, or in this case a spiritual background. And again, I've talked to folks about Ayurveda. I mean, there's other Reiki, and there's other type of um, practices, right? We talked about Buddhism, for example, right? Meditation. All these are different ways of getting the spirituality and then getting aligned. And every one of those religions almost lines up to the same: being a better person, elevate yourself, love others, be nice to humanity, be nice to animals, to the planet. I mean, it reaches more and far beyond than just the basics of what we know of religion. So I think as a practice, these are all good practices. These are all good activities that someone can use to, I guess, to live a decent or better life. To your point, the discussion that we're talking about today is about improving, finding your purpose in life, and living a good and better life. And I don't think anyone can debate that. I mean, other than the argument of the religious piece here, that can be a debate, for centuries, because that's been the debate.
It's been a debate for centuries.
And I don't think that ever end. But the context here is more about how to take those concepts and apply them in a real life, whereby it becomes a practice. And to your point, smile to people, help people, don't pay mind to negativity. You can turn somebody from a negative situation to a positive situation if you can, deflect that. You can, you don't have to buy into it. I mean, if there's that whole thing, fire with fire, but there's also the ability to suppress fire, and that's it, by not feeding it, right? So same concept here. You don't feed negativity, you give it positivity. You think positive, you find positive. You think negative, you're probably going to find negative.
Yes.
And again, you did say earlier that you were having some tough time in your life at the time, and maybe again someone can say, well, this is the diagnosis for your case. This is what happened. This is your reaction, or this is your remedy to whatever that time that you've been through, and therefore your subconscious started working this and gave you this. Again, that's an argument, and I think you have all the capabilities to debate that. And actually, I'm sure you've had this discussion over the last year. But I wanted to just go to the next item of the question I have that people might have also. And by the way, folks, if you're listening to watching here, we respect everybody's opinion. We don't have any bias on anyone's particular opinion and religion. And so, and the reason is because we live in a world where we can actually share this. Doesn't mean we have to accept what we hear. And, if you don't like what you hear, I'm just making this as a disclaimer, this is a discussion, and, we can take the best from whatever conversation we hear, and we don't have to accept everything else in the conversation anytime. And so, you listen to this, maybe it's something of interest, maybe not, but please, there's no judgment here. It's a judgment-free zone, right? So just wanted to give that. But the question I was going to tell you to ask is that you mentioned earlier that you were doing some sessions, and then it became courses. And so first of all, you are obviously finding an appeal, and people are listening, and they're finding this interesting, and therefore you have now become a lot more involved in it, and now you even probably have a following. And then the other part is that you went from just a concept to a practical piece now, that you have folks that actually do this practice with you, and you're making it as a full course. Now you have multiple sessions. Are there any specific topics or activities for these sessions, and do they apply to the business world today, and basically to mental and physical health?
Well, I think they're all about mental health in some aspect. I'm not a doctor, I can't cure people for mental health, but
Sure.
in the different, just changing the way of they see things. So, for example, right now I'm about to launch, actually this Friday, a course that is called Discovering Your Greatness. And it's actually the first
Sounds great.
set of exercises that I get. And I think that's the first step to finding your purpose in life, finding what is it that you're good at. And that is what this whole course is about. It's a 6-week course where and my way of doing this is very hands-on, not only because I got him that way, but also I have a math person in heart, and I believe in practice, 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 and exercising and doing it over and over again. So everything that I do on the workbooks, they have to do the exercises every day, once or twice a day. And on the 7th day, they have a review of what they've done, and then the next session, and then they learn something else, and then they have to practice on the next week that for the entire week. So for example, in Discovering Your Greatness, this course is going to be about guiding people on how to find their talents and discovering, just looking within themselves, leaving everything outside aside, and just finding what they're truly good at. And the thing with gifts and talents is that sometimes we don't realize we have them because we overlook them. For us, it's so easy to do something that we don't think is a talent. We just overlook it. It was like so easy. And then someone tries to do that, and it takes them 7 hours to do something that for you took you 5 minutes. So it's not that they're bad at it, it's just that you're really good at it. So once I believe that
That's
once
a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's exactly the right way to look at it. Yeah, perfect.
So it's just about that. So that's one of the first courses, and it's actually launching this Friday. It's launching to get signed up for, but it's going to start in August. And it's all about that. So that's one of the things that I do, that I'm going to do. And one of the ones that I did last year, at the end of the last year, it was called Joy During a Storm. And I launched that one because I believe a lot of people were going through just mentally stressed with everything that was going on with COVID and losing jobs and losing their income, maybe their families, a lot of divorces, and people didn't know who their spouse really was because they didn't really spend much time with them. And so people are going through small crises. So that's what this book was about, to help them just see things differently, see that rainbow in the storm, know that there is a sun behind those black clouds.
Love it.
That's what it is. That's what these different courses are about. So I don't know if I answer your question properly.
No, I think you're there. I mean, you obviously, have, well, no. So part of the question was really the design of the courses. So technically you're covering that, and this is what they do. But again, what I said is that you're making it, in terms of a full vetted course over a time period, and there's different concept that you're teaching, and you are finding people already that are interested in these practices and teaching, regardless again of the religious piece of it. It's more about, some people may just do it because it's good, because they see that they can get value from it in their practical life, not so much because they want to believe in your format of belief, right?
Yeah, and actually the courses are not toward getting closer to God. Like, not, that's not the goal of it. I have one that is the goal of it, if that's what people want. These are more work yourself with yourself. If you want to use God as a rock to guide you through this path, is your own decision. And whatever belief system you have, you can use to that. So they're not geared only for God and not only towards God. So that's not, each course and each book and workbook has its own purpose and its
Mm-hmm.
own different, unique goal.
So they're really self-improvement,
They're
courses.
pretty much self-improvement that will help you see. The whole point of it is help you see things differently, like how to be happy around different people. You can't change people. You are the one that has to make, you have to make the change. You can't
Start.
just ask people to keep changing and change. Oh my God, everybody's so horrible. Maybe it's the way you are seeing people. So it's more what you have to change, and stop believing that is on everyone's uh, hands to make the changes for you. So it's about you transforming your own life into the one you really want and enjoy things all the time without worrying so much about the little things, that sometimes we are so focused on the tiny little things that are not going right in our lives, and we forget
All the
all
good
the
stuff.
amazing things that are
Mhm.
going right in our lives. We just focus on the tiny little ones that are not. Like when we're having a party and we invite 100 people, 99 show up, and we're concerned about that one person that did not show up.
Or
So,
you can have a beautiful party set, and then one person comes in and worries about what kind of order of is this. I mean, you got to look at the big picture, right? Uh, and you're right. I mean, people are sometimes always focused on everybody around them but themselves, and they don't realize that maybe it is them that drive and attract, or just push people away. So it starts with the self, and again, that's self-improvement and also self-awareness. I think everybody
yes.
practicing that would benefit from it, and understanding we're not all there's no perfect humans. I don't believe that there is.
No, there
We
isn't.
all have flaws, and understanding that we do is a good start, and then understanding that we have solutions and resources out there to define these things, and work, help us work, whether it's through working with a psychology doctor, or whether you're working with a coach, whether we're taking a program like yours, whether it's just pure religion. Find your religion, be in your religion, believe your system, and do it. And people are devout and they do their own thing in their own religion. I'm not talking about extremism. I'm talking about just true religion where it's
Mhm.
really powerful, and it's beautiful and people care. And I have yet to meet literally a true religious person that believes, whether spiritually or in the main system of belief that are, the main religions, where they actually are bad people. I haven't. I think everyone that is out there that does bad things, in any religion denomination, whenever they portray it as such, they're not really part of that religion. They're just, what they are. They have nothing to do with their, belief system. I don't think religion calls for bad things. I don't think, self-improvement is a bad thing. I think religion does call for self-improvement, always improve and be better, and be the best to your, surrounding and environment. So overall, and again, these are my beliefs, these are your beliefs, and some people may agree, some people may disagree. And again, I don't even think people disagree with these, because these are like literally basics of everybody. We all know that. I mean, people are not meant to be bad, and there are some factors sometimes that drive people to do bad things, but bad people can be better, can change, and sometimes good people can turn bad. There's no guarantee. It's all about your elements and where you surround yourself and how you practice your day life, and that's what it is. Now, we all owe it to ourselves to improve, and seek better, in spirituality, in life, in financials, in life, in friendship. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all love to improve. We all want more of the good stuff, right? And the
Mhm.
good stuff can be in different ways. And so at the end of the day, I think we can learn from these concepts, and just be a better human, a better person, a better friend, a better father, a better husband, a better boyfriend, whatever the world that we want to use here, and whatever beliefs we have, these can be the concept. A better son, to your parents, a better neighbor, a better student, a better employee. And any one of those start with us changing sometimes how we are. Now, you can't change people, but you can change how you behave, or you can change the surrounding. If I don't like a set of folks around me, I just have to not interact with them and remove myself from the equation. And that can be also a concept, right? So there are different ways to treat things and deal with them. And I think your concept, based on your own spirituality, is driving you to help people, live a better life in a very simple format. Again, like I said, your teaching is not any different from other major religious teachings, and
Mhm.
also other spiritual teachings, such as, again, we're talking Hindu, Buddhism, and a few other concepts out there. They're similar in terms of the teachings. You have to higher, like, lift your spirit up to a different level, and just be in a higher level of living. And that's also how you treat your body, how you treat the soul, how you treat your mind. What you eat is good, is important. what you do in life is good, and all that stuff. Now, I don't think anyone can debate those elements. Now, of course, people can be very tight about their religious beliefs, and that's okay. Everybody has their own. That's the beauty about it, right? You believe in your system, great, and you should. There's nothing wrong with that. The difference is, that as long as it is teaching good and positive, and teaching you to do better and be a better human and contribute to the positive, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you practice, things that can be impactful and wrong and hurt people and things like that, well, there's no law, there's whether it's a human or divine that's going to accept that, right? So these are all different things that, I think from today's show, we can actually capture is that, you started this journey based on your personal, beliefs. You transform those into new beliefs based on your own perception of spirituality, and you've turned that into a practical, live, way of living, if you want to call it that way, I guess, and to help
Yes.
people improve, right? And so, we're just about coming up to the end of the show, but so Carolina, let's just summarize a little bit about your mission here in terms of, providing these services to people. What is it that you want to achieve based on your messages, your activities, and your courses?
Well, I hope this doesn't sound any. I hope it sounds good, but my goal, I think, or my purpose is to help people find their light within themselves and just bright up their life and bright up their life of people around them. I believe we're all beings of light. We all have a beautiful bunch of set of unique qualities and things that we can offer to people around us. And I think my main purpose is to let people know they have them, let people know they are a being of light, and help them find that light within themselves so they can shine and just be happier, joyful, and bring light to the world.
So I have to ask this question. Well, first of all, that is noble as a mission because there's nothing in what you said right now that is bad. Religious or not, I think if everyone finds themselves in the way you described it, we live in a very lively and beautiful world. With no hate, no war, no murders, no killing,
There's
no
no
bad
need
things.
for that if you're a being of light.
I agree. Well, again, I mean, there could be debates about about the fact of being of light versus like so the angels versus humans, and there's other, if we get into that discussion, that's a whole different world that we can open.
I don't know.
It's amazing, right? But I think the concept of it is very simple. If we can become those beautiful beings, we will be just beaming to other people that light. I think that's really what it is, and that light is your smile, your personality. You project the energy. Maybe that's the different way I would phrase it myself.
Exactly. Yeah,
Is the
it's
energy?
just, yeah, maybe it could be the energy is just you shining as a person. I
That's
think
it.
we are like a candle that we
Yeah,
light
yeah.
up,
You
and the
light up
fact that we
people.
light up, it won't, like the fact that we're giving light to others doesn't take the light away from us, and that's
And by the
something
way,
that is key.
and by the way, that's a beautiful description here because in essence, you know, just when you're so good, everything around you. I mean, think about it. If a nice breeze comes, nice rain, everything is a nice little sunshine. It's all good. If it's too bad, it's extreme. If it's too cold, it's extreme. If you're not, but if you're good and you are sharing, you project that positivity, that positive energy. And by the way, I had a few shows before. We talked about energy as humans. We do have that. There's more
Yes,
to
I
us
truly
than
believe.
just this physical format. There
I
is the
agree.
true I refer to it as the Greek would call it the ghost in the machine, back in the ancient times. But the concept is again in religion we call it the soul. I mean, there's so much stuff that we can discuss about this. But at the end, to your point, we say she's a beautiful soul, right? And that's really what that energy is projecting to humans and to others. And again, it is a message of peace. It is a message of love. And I think that is really, a sweet message to have across. And it's a good, mission, a good target to achieve where you can help people find that. I think everybody that's out there looking for positivity and sending positive messages is doing that job, is doing exactly that, trying to help people get there. Sometimes it's even for financial gain. It's okay if you're helping people and making a living from it. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. So, but at the end of the day, I think that's what it is. The only thing I was going to ask is that with this, um, it's not so much about religion. It's really about practice. Good behavior, and I think that is really what it is. Now, you call it whatever is how you see it yourself, but at the end of the day, I can tell you any religion right now will actually kind of want you to be representing them, because you are technically representing good values that they always want to have. I mean, I've not seen a good preach out there that doesn't talk about good stuff and good behavior and good manners and good values. And so it's really a beautiful thing. But like I said, I mean, you might have a challenge selling the idea of the religion concept, because people are going to debate with you, who are you, where are you getting this from, and they can question all that, which you probably have experienced already. And to your point, you said some people may just frown upon you, like you're mocking religion and so on and so forth. So there's that. But at the end of the day, you see something, you see the value, you're sharing it. There are going to be people that will take it. There are people probably be against it, and but that's the way life is. But as long as it's positive and you're not hurting anyone, nobody, you're going to do just fine, because that's really what everybody at the end wants. So
Exactly.
and again, that's a beautiful thing in a way.
And
Yeah.
yeah, some doors will open, some won't, and it's nothing I can do about it. So it's just
Well, in marketing, right? It's all about numbers.
I
it's all
know it.
it's
I
all
know
about
exactly what the strategies behind the marketing.
it's and by the way, everything in life is about the same, but it's really your message. It's really your goal, and what the outcome of all these exercises and the courses will be is just hopefully making people better. And now yourself, I mean, I'm not sure how far are you still getting these inspirations? Are you still looking into the religion? Because you might even find yourself driving into one or the other belief systems because they're just close to yours. I don't know. I'm not here to speculate that. I'm just saying, if you're in the journey and you're discovering it, there's got to be more for you to do work with. And
Yes.
as you do that, we all have a mission in this world, and certainly you're finding your own. I think that's gonna drive somewhere, and we hope that it's the best place and the better place, and that's all there is. So any last words for our audiences, as we wrap up the show?
Well, all I can say is just look for joy, and if you are in a dark place, or if you are in a place where you're having a hard time finding joy, the best way to start is to be thankful and appreciate what you currently have. And that brings you to the present moment, and that brings you to what you have now without worrying about the future, without concern about the past. So I just want to put that out there, because sometimes we're so concerned and we let our worries steal our joy. And that's something that should not happen, not even for a day, because it's not worth it. The fact that we're worrying about something doesn't mean it's going to be solved. So just focus on the gratitude, and focus on what's going right in each other's lives, and just be good to people. Be kind. Is it just takes the same effort to be kind that it is to not be kind.
Probably less effort.
Probably less effort. That's true, because our
It takes
natural state is to be kind to each other.
it takes more energy actually to be bad. I think, I mean, it's amazing. Like, some people spend a lot of time and energy and thinking and planning to do bad things where they can do a lot less and do better. But again, it's a message of again, literally peace and love and peace, a message of positivity. For what it's worth, folks listening and watching it, I mean, I think it's a great lesson in terms of just being better humans, and elevating ourselves to a higher level of humanity, and being a positive beacon to everybody around us. Again, whether it's a religious belief or not, I think these are values across all folks, and I think they will be good for everyone. regardless of their belief systems. And, I think we
Exactly.
all want to practice these, values in our dailies, in our daily lives, and with our families and friends and surroundings. So that being said, thank you for watching the iHealth channel, listening to iHealth Radio. It's been an interesting and unique perspective with Carolina Duarte. This is, we've taken a lot of different topics over the months in the last almost year and a half now, and we've tackled the personal behavior and the personal improvements from different angles. We've had anyone from psychologists to psychiatrists to personal development, folks. Today we had a different, unique perspective that had a different spin of spirituality, and hopefully it does not offend anyone. It's actually positive across. Please, don't take it any more than what it is. It is positive, and we'll keep it at that. So see the positive in everything, be positive, and do good. That's it. Be kind. That's
Yes.
saying. I don't know what else. Be kind. Rewind. Some sort of a note. So it's like in my mind. But yes, be kind, folks. Be kind and be happy. Be good. Be a beacon of light. So, Carolina, thank you for joining us today and for like I said, an interesting and unique perspective. We appreciate the time, and we'll talk soon. So, folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening on iHealth Radio, and we'll talk to you next time. Different show.